The debate over who is the best fighter among Gervonta, Tank Davis, Devin Haney, and Shakur Stevenson has taken over the boxing world once again, and now one of the greatest fighters to ever step into the ring has weighed in. Hall of Famer Roy Jones Jr. recently shared his thoughts on the three undefeated stars, breaking down their strengths, weaknesses, and explaining who he believes is the toughest matchup and who might be the most vulnerable. Whenever Roy Jones Jr. speaks, the boxing community listens. After all, this is a man who dominated multiple weight classes with speed, power, reflexes, and ring IQ that few fighters in history have possessed. His understanding of boxing goes far beyond what fans see on fight night. Today, we're diving into Roy Jones Jr.'s analysis, comparing Tank Davis, Devin Haney, and Shakur Stevenson, and discussing which fighter has the best chance of ruling the lightweight division for years to come. Let's begin with Gervonta, Tank Davis. Tank is arguably the biggest knockout artist among the three. His punching power has become legendary, especially considering he often competes against naturally bigger opponents. Throughout his career, Davis has repeatedly shown that he only needs one clean shot to completely change the outcome of a fight. We've seen it against Leo Santa Cruz, Rolando Romero, Ryan Garcia, Frank Martin, and many others. Even when Tank appears to be losing rounds, he remains calm because he understands that his power is always the equalizer. Roy Jones Jr. has often praised fighters who possess true fight-ending power because that kind of ability cannot be taught. According to Jones, Tank carries that rare gift where opponents must remain focused every second of every round because one mistake could end the fight instantly. However, Roy also points out that relying on knockout power comes with risks. Tank sometimes starts slowly, spending the early rounds downloading information rather than establishing a commanding lead on the scorecards. Against elite defensive fighters, giving away rounds can become dangerous. If a fighter manages to avoid the knockout, suddenly Tank could find himself needing multiple late rounds to secure a decision. That patient style has worked beautifully so far, but against technically gifted opponents like Haney or Shakur, every round matters. Next comes Devin Haney, widely regarded as one of the most disciplined boxers in the sport. Haney's greatest strength is his technical ability. His jab controls distance, his footwork keeps opponents from setting their feet, and his defensive awareness allows him to minimize damage throughout 12 rounds. Roy Jones Jr. admires Haney's intelligence inside the ring because he rarely fights emotionally. Instead, Haney sticks to the game plan, boxes behind his jab, and forces opponents to chase him. That style helped him become an undisputed champion and defeat several world-class opponents. Still, Roy believes Haney faces unique challenges. Unlike Tank Davis, Haney isn't known for devastating knockout power. That means opponents often remain confident throughout the fight because they don't fear one single punch changing everything. Roy has suggested that elite fighters who lack overwhelming power sometimes struggle against opponents willing to absorb a few clean shots in order to pressure them continuously. If Haney cannot earn enough respect with his punches, aggressive fighters may become increasingly dangerous as the rounds progress. Then there's Shakur Stevenson, perhaps the purest boxer among the trio. Roy Jones Jr. has repeatedly praised Shakur's defensive brilliance, calling him one of the smartest young fighters in boxing today. Stevenson's ability to control distance, avoid punches, and frustrate opponents is remarkable. He rarely gets hit cleanly and constantly forces opponents into making mistakes. Many trainers believe Shakur possesses the highest boxing IQ among today's lightweight stars. His footwork is smooth, his timing is exceptional, and his understanding of angles allows him to dominate exchanges without taking unnecessary punishment. But even Shakur isn't without criticism. Roy points out that while Shakur is incredibly difficult to hit, some fans question whether he consistently takes enough offensive risks. Defensive brilliance wins fights, but entertaining performances often build superstar status. There are moments where Shakur's patience results in lower punch output, allowing critics to argue that he plays it too safe. Against elite opposition, there may come a time when he needs to stand his ground and exchange punches rather than relying almost entirely on movement and defense. So who does Roy Jones Jr. believe is the toughest problem? According to his analysis, each fighter presents a completely different puzzle. Tank brings terrifying knockout power that changes every second of every fight. Haney brings elite fundamentals, discipline, and championship experience. Shakur brings perhaps the most difficult style to solve because of his defensive mastery and ring intelligence. If forced to rank them purely on technical skill, many believe Roy leans toward Shakur Stevenson because elite defense and ring IQ often age better than athleticism or power alone. The most interesting part of Roy's breakdown focuses on vulnerability. He suggests that every fighter has weaknesses that another elite champion can exploit. Tank's willingness to give away early rounds could become costly against elite technicians. Haney's lack of consistent knockout power may encourage aggressive opponents to take more risks. Shakur's low-risk approach occasionally allows close rounds that could become controversial in championship fights. None of these weaknesses guarantee defeat, but they create fascinating stylistic matchups. Imagine Tank Davis facing Devin Haney. Tank would likely spend the early rounds studying Haney's movement while searching for opportunities to land his explosive left hand. Haney, meanwhile, would attempt to control distance with his jab, frustrate Tank with footwork, and build a lead on the scorecards before the championship rounds. It becomes a battle between discipline and explosive power, where one perfectly timed punch could erase 30 minutes of brilliant boxing. Now picture Tank Davis against Shakur Stevenson. This may be the hardest fight to predict. Tank's power is undeniable, but Shakur's